Hey guys, this is Mitch with Fine Point CGI, and today we're going to talk about Godot getting animation retargeting in 4.0 Alpha 13. Now, this is really big because animation targeting basically means that you can have multiple characters and all have them share animations. Previously in Godot, you would have to have multiple animation sets for each character. So each character would have to have a run animation, a walk animation, a dodge animation, things like that. Whatever kind of animations you would need, each individual character would have to have those animations, and you'd have to manage each one of those individually. Whereas now Godot gains this new thing called an animation library, which basically allows you to share animations between characters. But that doesn't just stop there. You need to be able to retarget those animations to match different sized characters, characters of different shapes and sizes all have different bone structures. So you need to be able to retarget those animations. And that's basically the feature that Godot got. So now that we know how animation retargeting works, let's take a look at how to do it inside of Godot 4.0. Okay, so I know this is probably not what you were expecting. We're not exactly in Godot. We are in Blender to start this off, but you can see here, I have a character with an animation attached to it. And you can also see that I have a couple other animations here. It looks like they're reloading a gun. They are, running from side to side, things like that. So I have a character with a bunch of animations attached to it, okay? And inside of Godot, I have a character right here called the boss, which is a Mixamo character. And if you guys don't know what Mixamo is, but basically it's a service that Adobe provides for free, which has a couple of characters and lots of animations that you can use for free with your Adobe account. And you don't have to pay for an Adobe account, you just create an account and you have access to it. Now, this is a character from Mixamo right here. So we are going to use this and we're going to retarget animations from this guy to this guy, okay? And you can see if I scroll down, he has no animations. Now first, in Blender, I need to take this character and I need to export him out for it to work. Now, at the time of recording, there is a bug with the Blender 2 GLTF system in Godot where it doesn't apply the bone scaling, if I remember correctly, and it messes up the animation retargeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Export, FBX, and I'm going to export my FBX into my Animations Godot tutorial. We will export that out, and I will come back to Godot, and Godot should recognize it in a second, and then import it. All right, so now that Godot has imported it, let's double click on our character.fbx, and it's going to pre-import it and scale it up here for me so I can actually open up my import menu. You'll see right here, this is my import menu. Now, how we do animation retargeting is we need to tell our skeleton to map to Godot's skeletal system. Okay, so Godot actually has an internal skeletal naming structure that we need to link this to. So if we click on our skeleton 3D right here, we have this thing called retarget bone map. And this is where we're going to actually retarget our bones. So if we come over here, we click on our empty and we do new bone map, you will see that we have a group, a profile, a bone map, a resource, and then we have all sorts of stuff down here. And we'll go through all of these things, and at least I'll explain what I understand them to be, because some of these they don't have descriptions or any kind of documentation. So I'm going to go through and try my best here. So starting from the top, group is empty at first import. And basically this will be where you choose your different groups and things like that for your bone mapping. Under profile, you see it says empty. If we click that, we have two profiles. We have the skeleton profile and we have the Skeleton profile humanoid. Skeleton profile allows you to map bones to other bones that are non-humanoid. So for instance, if you had a car, or if you had a dog, if you wanted to map a dog's animations to a squirrel, you could using the skeleton profile. And you can see here, you have like root bones and scale bones, and you can add different groups and different bone elements and actually like hook up your bones and stuff like that. This is probably a little bit too advanced for this tutorial, but this is how you would map your actual bones on a non-bipedal character. Now in our case, we are going to be doing specifically a bipedal character. So we're going to get rid of this profile. We're going to select a new skeleton profile humanoid. And you will see that it pops up with a body here. Now under group, you can see we have body, face, left hand, and right hand. And basically that's to map all of our bones. So now that you have a basic understanding of how this works, how do we map a bone? Well, if we click on this little guy here, you will see it says head right here. If we come over here, you can click on this and it'll show you all of your bones. And I know some of them are cut off, but there's all of my bones here. Now, if we come up here to the top, you can see there is a Mixamo rig head. So if I click on that, you will see that it's turned green. That means that that bone has been mapped to the head bone of the Godot internal skeleton. So now we can click on the next one and go neck, and there's neck, and then we can click on upper chest, and in my case that's spine 2. If we click on chest, that is spine 1, and if we click on spine, that is spine. And if we click on hips, that's hips, and you can kind of see how this works. So right upper leg, let's see if we can find that one real quick. And it is difficult to find all of these objects because there are a bunch of bones here. So it'd be nice if maybe we could like type search or something like that. But as of right now, this is how it works. So right leg and then right foot and right toe base. And basically that's how you map these guys. Now, once you have this fully mapped, and I already have one that's fully mapped, so I'll just load that. But once you have that fully mapped, if you come over to face, you can map your face. So you click right eye, left eye, that's right eye, whoops, left eye, like that. And then if you go to left hand, you can map all of your thumbs. So you have your left thumb, left index, and you can see how it kind of flows out from there. So that's kind of the gist of how to map your bones, okay? And if you make a mistake, for instance, left upper leg, and I choose something like right upper leg, like that, you'll see that it highlights red to tell you that you made a mistake somewhere. Either two bones are mapped to the same thing, or maybe it's not matching the query match that this would expect. So for instance, it says right instead of left. So it's highlighting red to say, hey, you made a mistake somewhere. Now, once you have your bone map done, I always suggest that you right click your bone map and you save it. And if you save it, it's going to save it out to your disk. So that way you have access to it later. So I'm going to map these guys and I'm going to be right back. All right, I'm going to right click my bone map. I am going to save it and I'm going to name it Mixamo bone map.tres and I'm going to save that. So that should make a Mixamo bone map. There we go. You can see it has our bone map right here. So now that we've saved our Mixamo bone map, let's talk about some of the features here in this little section here. There is a bunch of options here, and a lot of them I'm not fully sure how they work, but I can give you a best rough approximation of how they work. Now, the first one here under remove tracks is accept bone transform. Accept bone transform basically will remove tracks when there isn't a bone transform. So it just eliminates those tracks. That can be useful if you want to optimize your animations. You can just basically remove tracks that aren't there. unimportant positions, if there are positions that are not deemed important, so they're, not being used, or they're just not changing at all, then it will remove the intermediary tracks between to optimize your animation. Unmapped bones, if you have all of your bones mapped that matter, this will eliminate any tracks that of bones that are not mapped to your character. So this is useful if you don't need that extra bit of animation. For instance, some characters may need a facial animation, some characters may not. So unmapped bones will eliminate those facial animations if it's not mapped to anything. So that's something to keep in mind. Bone renamer is important because it's going to rename your bones so that they match the Godot internal bone system. Now, some people may or may not want their bones renamed, so that's what this option's for. Unique node, this is important. A unique node basically means that the scene is unique. So that way, every time you duplicate this character, it's going to have a unique bone structure. In this case, that's probably for the best because we're going to be doing animation retargeting. So you might want to keep this on. However, there are some cases where you might not. Skeleton name allows you to rename your skeleton. I think it's fine as long as everything maintains the same skeleton name, which in this case is general skeleton, then it's going to be totally fine to change this. So basically, as long as everything's named the same, you're good to go. Reset fixer. Basically, this will overwrite your access and normalize your positions. So basically, if you have a character that's taller or a character that's shorter, it's going to try to normalize those bone rotations and translations to basically allow your animation to work on characters that are short and stubby and characters that are super tall and skinny, more or less. So this normalizes the positions, and this overwrites the axes and recalculates your bone rolls. Fix silhouette. Now this is important. If you have a character that is at a pose and another character that's a T pose, this can snap it and fix that silhouette, which can help with maintaining consistency between your characters. So now that we've gone through all of these different options here, let's click the re-import button and let's let this re-import. All right, so now we have a character here and we have another character here, right? The boss. We need to tell character to become an animation library, okay? So in Godot, you have to have a character that's skinned for this to work. So that's the reason why I chose a character such as that little robot guy to be kind of my skin, I guess you could say, so I can make an animation library. So if we come over to our character and we go up to our import and we come down here to import as and we change it to animation library, this will allow us to change this, take out the mesh and just keep the bones so we could use those animations across multiple characters. So let's click the re-import button and it's going to say, hey, because you're changing the type of an imported file, we're going to need to reboot Godot. So let's click Save Scenes and re-import. So we'll click that. And I will be right back. All right, now that Godot has been rebooted, you can see here that character.fbx, the icon has actually changed. So you can see it's a little tiny, looks like a film reel almost, and it looks like there's 3 of them. And that basically tells you that it is an animation library and not an actual scene anymore. So that basically means that our character got removed and it just has the animation library that was at the bottom of our little import. So let's apply that animation to our boss, the boss character here. So if we double click on the boss, and I'll need to rescale this real quick. There we go. So you guys can actually see what's going on here. If I click on the skeleton and I go to our bone map and I right click our bone map and I load our bone map and I take our Mixamo bone map, and let's actually open this up just like that. You'll see that if we click on it, all of our bones mapped properly because this is a Mixamo character. So it's pretty simple. It maps just perfectly fine to another Mixamo character. See, you can see how we have all green right here. If we click re-import, and then we right click our boss and we make a new inherited scene, you will see here is the boss. Just like that. Now, if we want to apply the animations from our character to our boss, what we can do is we can scroll down here to our animation player here. We can click on it, and then we can come over to animation right here. We can select it and click manage animations. Now this is where there's a slight confusion on my part. There's add library and load library. Add library allows you to create a new library, and load library allows you to load an existing library. Originally, I immediately clicked on add library because I thought I'm just adding a library. But it turns out that that's if you want to add a new library. So that's just something to keep in mind. Maybe that should be changed to new or something like that. But if I click on load library, you will see that I have all of my scenes and all of my things available to me. Now, I can't just import a scene. It doesn't work that way. It has to be an animation library. So I'm going to click on my character and I will click open. And you will see that it has imported all of those animations that I had on that character. So if we click OK, and then we click on our animations, you will see that there are all of our animations right here. So if I click on the first one, you will see that he is broken. See that? Which was not supposed to happen, but that's a good thing. So that means that something is wrong. So now we've got to figure out what's going on. It's either the bone mapping of the boss to the bone mapper, or it's the character to the bone mapper. We'll have to figure it out. So first, let's double click on the boss.fbx and click on skeleton. And let's see what happens if we enable a silhouette fix and hit re-import. And let's see if that fixes it. So we have to close this. Don't save. Let's right click, new instance, and click on here, manage animations, and Godot's about to crash, I'm fairly certain. Yep, it's about to crash. There we go. And I'm gonna reopen Godot, so I will be right back. All right, so I figured out what the issue was. So you can see here, this character now has the animations of the other character, of this actual character here. So what the bug ended up being was a mistake on my part. But basically, when you export out your character.fbx, you need to make sure that it is in A pose, that it is in T pose, or else the animation remapping isn't going to work. If you think about it, basically what happens when you create your bone map is it is taking this character's position and then matching it up to this guy's initial position. So if you see how this armature on import is a T pose, right? If I scale this down a tiny bit so you guys can see it, this character's in T pose right here. So the character, when you import them, needs to also be in T pose, or else it's not going to work. They need to match their poses, or else it just doesn't work. So that's something to keep in mind. But now you can see this guy has all of the animations of this character. So let's see how this works with another character. So I can kind of show you the general workflow once you have everything set up. So I'm going to go out to Mixamo real quick. And you will see that they have all sorts of animations, and they have a character here that you can use. So if I, for instance, if I click on crouch stand, you can see he's crouching and stands. Now, if you click up here on characters, you can see that there are a bunch of characters that are free for you to use in your game. So for instance, if you wanted like a SWAT guy, there is a SWAT guy that you can use. If you want to use like a survivor, or maybe a crypto guy, which does not look like Bitcoin, but that's fine. But in my case, I'm just gonna select this SWAT guy here because I guess that would make sense for a SWAT guy to have, you know, some form of weapons animations. So I'm going to select this guy and I'm going to pause his animation. And I'm going to get rid of his animation. So you can see he is sitting in T-pose like this, okay? And then I'm going to download him, and I'm going to grab him in T-pose, and I'm going to grab him as an FBX, and I'm going to download him. So it's going to take a second, so I will be right back. All right, now that I have it downloaded right here, I'm going to drag this in to Godot. We are going to drag it in, and Godot should import it immediately. So once Godot has this imported, we can double click on it to pre-import the scene, and you will see that we have ourselves a little SWAT guy. So now I can come in here, I can go into his skeleton, I can go into his bone map, and I can actually map his bones. Now, if his bones are different, I just need to create a new bone map. If his bones are not different, which in this case he's not because he's from Mixamo, I can just load my previous bone map. So I'm going to click load and I'm going to click on Mixamo bone map, which this little bone map here is going to be provided to you guys. There's a link in the description below. That way, if you guys have a Mixamo rigged character, you don't have to create your own bone map because mapping bones is kind of a pain. So I will provide this to you guys. So click open and then click re-import. And it's going to take a second, so I will be right back. All right, now that we've got that done, first I'm going to save this scene here with this boss. So we'll just save him like so. And I'm going to actually import our character here as a new inherited scene, just like that. And I'm going to click on my animation player, click on my animation, click on manage animations. I'm going to load my library and I will load my character animation here. We will click open and click OK. Now, if I come in here and I click on my character armature animation, you can see that the animations have imported. Just like that. So now I have this one repository of animations instead of having multiple repositories of animations. And this is big because it really simplifies how everything is put together. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like animation retargeting? Do you think that this is going to be useful in the future? I personally think it's basically a game changer for Godot in 3D. It actually makes it into an engine that's worth using for 3D. That was one of the big struggles and one of the reasons why I haven't been doing any 3D tutorials is because 3D support inside of Godot is not very good. And with Godot 4, they're making a lot of quality life changes that are making it better. Animation retargeting being one of them. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below because I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. But that is all I have for you guys today. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Hey, if you dislike this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button because I am here to make content for you guys. This video, as with all of my videos, was a viewer suggested video. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to take a look at them and put them on my Trello board and, you know, get to them. And hey, if you have any questions or comments about this, leave them in the comments below or hit me up on my Discord. Link is in the description and I'll be more than happy to work with you through any issues you might have. But that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching. And I will see you all next time. Thanks.